In a quiet American town, nestled between rolling hills and golden fields, a wealthy woman named Eleanor decided to take her twin children, Emma and Ethan, on a weekend adventure. Eleanor had always believed that life's most valuable lessons were learned outside the confines of luxury and routine. She wanted her children to understand the world beyond their grand estate, to see hardship and resilience firsthand, and to cultivate compassion in their hearts. That Saturday morning, with the sun casting a warm glow over the sleepy streets, Eleanor packed a picnic, filled the car with blankets and snacks, and set out with her twins for the countryside. The drive was filled with laughter and conversation. Emma and Ethan pointed out birds and farmhouses, asking countless questions about the landscapes and people they passed. Eleanor smiled, enjoying their curiosity, but her mind wandered to the purpose of this trip: to teach empathy through experience, rather than through books or lectures. She had arranged a simple day of hiking and exploration, hoping that the children might encounter the world in its raw, unfiltered form. As the family ventured toward the outskirts of town, the scenery gradually transformed. The neatly paved roads gave way to dirt tracks, and the orderly fields were replaced by wild meadows dotted with wildflowers. The air smelled of earth and pine, and a gentle breeze carried the songs of distant birds. It was here, amid the tall grass and the rustling leaves, that Ethan's attention was drawn to something unusual. He spotted a small figure huddled near a cluster of rocks, barely visible through the overgrown weeds. Curious and concerned, he approached slowly, calling out softly. The figure stirred, revealing a young Apache child, no more than 8 years old. His clothes were tattered, his skin sunburned, and his eyes wide with fear. He trembled as he backed against the rocks, clearly hungry and exhausted. Emma gasped and instinctively reached out, while Eleanor stepped forward cautiously, assessing the situation. The child did not speak, but his frightened expression spoke volumes. Eleanor's heart ached. She had read about poverty and displacement, but seeing it up close, in the vulnerability of a child, was different. Without hesitation, she offered the boy some food and water from their picnic, speaking softly and reassuringly. It took patience and gentle coaxing, but eventually, the child accepted the offerings. He did not reveal his name or story, only clinging to the kindness extended to him. Eleanor made a quick decision: she could not leave him alone in the wilderness, not for even a moment. With careful hands and soothing words, she led him back to their car, explaining to Emma and Ethan the importance of helping those in need. The twins, though initially overwhelmed by the situation, quickly adapted, offering blankets and snacks, and talking to the child in a calm, friendly manner. For the first time, their adventures were not about fun or curiosity, they were about humanity, about reaching out to someone who had nothing. The ride home was quiet. The boy sat between the twins, holding a small stuffed toy that Eleanor had offered him to comfort him. No one spoke much, but the unspoken understanding between them was profound. At home, Eleanor prepared a warm bath, clean clothes, and a hearty meal. The boy ate eagerly, finally relaxing in the safety of their care. Emma and Ethan watched him with a mixture of fascination and empathy, learning that sometimes, the simplest acts of kindness could have the most profound impact. Over the next 4 days, the boy grew stronger and more comfortable in their home. He did not speak much, but his trust in the family grew steadily. The twins engaged him with games and stories, while Eleanor worked to understand his background. Despite their efforts, the boy's origins remained a mystery, though it was clear that he was part of the Apache community, far from his family. The house, usually a place of routine and luxury, now hummed with a different energy, one of care, responsibility, and quiet reflection. The experience challenged the children's understanding of privilege, showing them that compassion often requires action, not just sentiment. Then, on the 4th day, a quiet knock at the door changed everything. Eleanor opened it to find 3 women standing there, their expressions a mixture of relief, anxiety, and hope. They were dressed in traditional attire, and it was immediately clear that they were the child's family. The boy's face lit up with recognition, and he ran into their arms without hesitation. Tears flowed freely as the women explained their desperate search, the long nights spent worrying, and the relief of finding their child safe. Eleanor, Emma, and Ethan watched the reunion, deeply moved by the raw emotion before them. The moment was both beautiful and humbling, a vivid reminder of the resilience of family and the power of human kindness. The twins stood silently, absorbing the lesson in full. They had witnessed fear, hunger, and vulnerability, but also courage, hope, and the strength of bonds that transcended wealth and status. Eleanor spoke softly, emphasizing that true privilege lay not in money or material comfort, but in the capacity to help, to connect, and to protect. The Apache women, grateful beyond words, offered their thanks, acknowledging the care and safety provided by the family. The encounter forged an unspoken bond between them, one rooted in trust, respect, and shared humanity. As the sun set over the quiet town that evening, Eleanor reflected on the events of the past few days. Her twins had learned more about life, empathy, and courage than any classroom or book could teach. They had seen firsthand the vulnerability of others, and they had acted with compassion, bridging cultural divides in a simple, yet profound way. For the boy and his family, the experience had restored faith in the kindness of strangers, showing that even in a world often marked by struggle, generosity and love still prevailed. By the time the family bid farewell to the Apache women, the twins carried a new understanding in their hearts. They had learned that helping others requires courage, that empathy is a form of strength, and that the bonds formed through genuine care are timeless. Eleanor, proud yet humbled, knew that this weekend adventure had achieved its purpose. It was not the scenic landscapes or the luxury of their home that mattered, it was the connection they had forged, the lives they had touched, and the lessons they had internalized. That small act of kindness had created ripples far beyond their quiet town, leaving a legacy of compassion, courage, and hope. As night fell, the family sat together on the porch, gazing at the stars. The twins held hands, silently contemplating the journey they had undertaken, both literally and emotionally. Eleanor smiled, knowing that the memory of this weekend would linger with them forever, not because of the adventure itself, but because of the humanity it had revealed. In the end, it was a simple truth. Wealth may offer comfort, but compassion builds a legacy. On a crisp autumn day in the American Midwest, the air carried a mix of earthiness and the faint scent of fallen leaves. Eleanor, a millionaire mother, decided it was the perfect day to take her twin children, Lily and Lucas, for a walk through the countryside. Eleanor had always believed that life's most profound lessons could not be taught in classrooms or through material possessions alone. She wanted her children to witness life's realities, to experience compassion firsthand, and to understand the strength it took to care for others. The golden sunlight filtered through the sparse trees, casting long shadows on the ground as the trio moved along a narrow dirt path that cut through the open fields. The twins ran ahead, laughing and chasing each other, their voices echoing across the quiet landscape. Eleanor watched them with a mixture of pride and curiosity, appreciating their boundless energy and unfiltered joy. Yet, beneath the serenity of the scene, there was a subtle undertone of unpredictability. This countryside, beautiful as it was, also held stories that were untold and challenges that lay hidden. Eleanor encouraged her children to slow down occasionally, to take in the smaller details, the way the wind stirred the tall grass, the distant call of a hawk, the tiny footprints of woodland creatures. Little did they know that an encounter awaited them that would change their perspectives forever. As they neared a secluded grove, Lucas noticed a small figure slumped under a tree, partially obscured by fallen leaves. He paused and pointed, drawing Eleanor and Lily's attention. Approaching cautiously, they saw a young Apache boy, no older than 7 or 8, shivering and weak. His clothes were torn and soiled, and his eyes, wide with fear, flicked nervously between the family and the surrounding landscape. Eleanor's heart tightened. She had read about poverty, displacement, and orphaned children, but seeing one in such a vulnerable state brought a pang of immediate empathy. She knelt down to meet the child's gaze and offered a reassuring smile, speaking softly so as not to frighten him further. The boy hesitated at first, unsure if these strangers could be trusted. But the warmth in Eleanor's voice, and the gentle presence of Lily and Lucas, slowly coaxed him into accepting their help. Eleanor offered him a granola bar and a bottle of water from their picnic bag. He ate hungrily, yet cautiously, his hands trembling as he held the food. The twins sat beside him, speaking in low, comforting tones, sharing stories about their own lives and offering small toys to ease his fear. It was clear he had been alone for some time, wandering without guidance or care, and Eleanor made a swift, yet compassionate decision. He could not be left alone. With great care, they helped the boy to his feet and guided him back to their car. Eleanor spoke to the twins about the importance of empathy, patience, and understanding. Sometimes, true bravery, she said gently, is simply showing up for someone who cannot show up for themselves. The boy, silent but increasingly trusting, allowed them to lead him home, clutching the small toys Lily had given him as a token of comfort. The drive back was quiet, filled with the rustling of leaves outside and the subtle hum of the car engine. Eleanor stole glances at the boy, noting the resilience hidden beneath his fragile exterior, and silently vowed to provide him safety and care for as long as he needed it. At home, Eleanor prepared a warm bath and fresh clothes for the boy, while Lily and Lucas helped him adjust to the unfamiliar surroundings. The house, usually brimming with opulence and routine, now felt alive with a different kind of energy, a blend of responsibility, care, and newfound purpose. As the boy ate a hearty meal, his eyes gradually brightened, and the tension in his body eased. Over the next 4 days, he began to open up, though words came sparingly. The twins took it upon themselves to teach him small games and routines, sharing laughter and companionship that contrasted sharply with the hardship he had endured alone. Eleanor, meanwhile, tried to piece together his story, hoping to find a way to reunite him with his family while ensuring his immediate safety. The bond between the boy and the family grew steadily. Lily and Lucas, initially curious, now felt a deep sense of responsibility. They witnessed firsthand what it meant to care for someone who had nothing and who had endured fear and hunger. Eleanor observed this quietly, proud of their compassion and maturity. The household, once focused on schedules and luxury, had transformed into a sanctuary of empathy and human connection. Then, on the 4th day, the long-awaited moment arrived. There was a soft knock at the door, tentative but persistent. Eleanor opened it to find 3 Apache women standing there, their faces a mixture of worry, hope, and relief. They had been searching desperately for the boy, traveling miles in fear for his safety. The boy's face lit up instantly, and he ran into their embrace, crying with a mix of joy and relief. Tears streamed down the women's faces as they held their child close, expressing gratitude through sobs and whispered words. Eleanor, Lily, and Lucas watched, moved beyond measure, as the reunion unfolded before their eyes. It was a moment of profound humanity, a testament to resilience, love, and the connections that transcend material wealth. The twins realized that their world of privilege, while comfortable, could never replace the strength found in family and community. Eleanor gently explained that true wealth is measured not by dollars or possessions, but by the compassion and care we extend to others. The Apache women, grateful beyond words, shared their story in fragments, revealing the struggles they had faced and the fear of losing their child forever. Despite cultural differences, a bridge of understanding and respect formed instantly between the families. As the sun began to set over the Midwest, the golden light casting long shadows across the countryside, Eleanor reflected on the past few days. Her children had learned lessons that no classroom could teach. They had witnessed fear, hunger, and vulnerability, but also courage, hope, and the enduring strength of human connection. The boy's return to his family was not only a relief but also a vivid reminder of how a single act of kindness can ripple through lives, leaving an indelible mark on everyone involved. By evening, the families shared a quiet moment together, exchanging smiles, gestures, and words of gratitude. Lily and Lucas sat hand in hand, silently absorbing the profound lessons of empathy, courage, and the value of helping others. Eleanor, watching them, felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The weekend adventure had succeeded far beyond her expectations. It had cultivated understanding, compassion, and an awareness of the world's complexities. The simple act of caring for one child had transformed her family, teaching lessons of humanity that would endure far longer than any material possession could. As night fell, Eleanor and her twins sat on their porch, gazing at the stars. The crisp autumn air carried a sense of peace, a quiet reminder of the day's extraordinary events. In that stillness, they understood that wealth was measured not in money, but in the capacity to show kindness, empathy, and love. The memory of the boy, his struggle, and his reunion with his family would remain etched in their hearts forever, a timeless lesson that compassion is the truest measure of richness.